The Falklands War. A brief overview of the 10-week conflict in 1982. Presentation overview. The presentation will be structured into three main parts: overview of the history and geopolitical context of the Falkland Islands, detailed account of key events of the war, and analysis of the aftermath of the conflict. Background. The Falkland Islands have been a disputed territory between Argentina and the United Kingdom since the 19th century. We will explore the history of the islands and Argentina's claim to them, which led to the war. History of the Falkland Islands. European settlement. The Falkland Islands have a history of European settlement dating back to the 18th century. The islands were first claimed by France, then Britain, and later Argentina, leading to a long-standing territorial dispute. Geopolitical context. The Falkland Islands have been of significant geopolitical importance due to their strategic location in the South Atlantic. The islands have been the subject of a long-standing territorial dispute between Britain and Argentina. Argentina's claim to the Falkland Islands. Historical ties. Argentina claimed sovereignty over the Falkland, citing historical ties dating back to the 19th century, when Argentina declared independence from Spain and claimed all territories under Spanish rule, including the Falklands. Geographical and ethnic ties. Argentina claimed sovereignty over the Falklands, citing geographic and ethnic ties to the islands. Argentina argues that the islands are located closer to its mainland and that the majority of the population on the island is of Argentinian descent. Key events. Argentina's invasion. The war began on April 2, 1982, when Argentine forces invaded the Falkland Islands, which had been under British rule since 1833. The British Task Force. The British government responded by sending a task force to the South Atlantic, consisting of more than 100 ships and aircraft. Naval and air operations. The conflict involved naval and air operations in difficult conditions, with the British fleet facing air and missile attacks from Argentine planes. The British victory. After a brief but intense conflict, the British forces were able to retake the Falkland Islands on June 14, 1982, ending the war. Argentina's invasion. The Falkland Islands. The Falkland Islands are a remote group of islands in the South Atlantic Ocean. In 1982, Argentina invaded the islands, leading to a brief but intense conflict with the British. Argentine strategy. Argentina's decision to invade the Falkland Islands was motivated by a number of factors, including national pride, internal politics, and economic considerations. British response. The British responded quickly and decisively to the Argentine invasion, sending a naval task force to the Falkland Islands and launching a military operation to retake the islands. British response and task force. Naval task force. The United Kingdom responded to Argentina's invasion of the Falkland Islands with a massive naval task force consisting of over 100 vessels and 28,000 military personnel, which sailed to the Falklands to retake the islands. British strategy. The British strategy was to establish air and sea superiority and then launch a ground attack to retake the islands. The British forces faced many challenges, including harsh weather conditions, rugged terrain, and limited intelligence about the Argentine defenses. Aftermath. Surrender of Argentina. The Falklands War ended with the surrender of Argentina, which led to significant political changes and instability in the country. Impact on casualties. The Falklands War resulted in significant loss of life and injuries for both Argentine and British troops, as well as civilians. Long-term effects on regional and global politics. The Falklands War had long-lasting effects on regional and global politics, including changes in diplomatic relations, military strategy, and international law. Surrender and aftermath. Political consequences. The Falklands War had significant political consequences for both Argentina and the United Kingdom. In Argentina, the military junta was weakened and the government transitioned to democratic rule. In the United Kingdom, the victory boosted the popularity of the conservative government. Economic consequences. The Falklands War had economic consequences for both Argentina and the United Kingdom. Argentina's economy suffered due to international sanctions, while the United Kingdom experienced a boost in its economy due to increased government spending and patriotic consumerism. Social consequences. Falklands War had social consequences for both Argentina and the United Kingdom. In Argentina, the war led to increased nationalism and patriotism, while in the United Kingdom, it led to a renewed sense of national pride and identity. Casualties and impact on diplomacy. Human casualties. The Falklands War resulted in significant human casualties, including military personnel and civilians, with long-term physical and emotional scars for survivors and their families. International diplomacy. The Falklands War had a complex impact on international diplomacy, with military alliances and geopolitical power struggles shaping regional and global politics. Role of the United Nations. The role of the United Nations in resolving the Falklands conflict was complex and controversial, with different perspectives and interests shaping the decision-making process. Conclusion. Sovereignty conflict. The Falklands War was a conflict over the sovereignty of the Falkland Islands, which had been under British control since 1833, but claimed by Argentina. The conflict lasted for 74 days and resulted in deaths of over 900 people. Political crisis. The Falklands War was a political crisis that had far-reaching consequences for both Argentina and the United Kingdom. It strained their diplomatic relations and had a significant impact on their economies. Military campaign. The Falklands War was a military campaign that resulted in the victory of the British forces and the end of the conflict. It was a significant military operation that involved air, sea, and ground forces. Thank you.